Hey guys, welcome to Championship Week. Weekly report is back to y'all, and last week we had our semifinals in the championship bracket, and for our toilet bowl. A lot happened last week. A lot of great managerial performances and some not so good ones. So for Championship Week, I obviously have the World Series Cubs hat. Let's fucking go. Still reminiscing, of course. And hopefully the Cubbies can do it again this season. It seems like we're favorites for the division, but our division's trash for the first time in a while. So, yeah, let's get into the news. Starting with one I really want to focus on, which I don't think I've seen a lot of coverage. Steph Curry. So these are some Steph Curry stats. But Steph Curry just hit his 300th three this season, marking it the seventh player ever to have 300 threes in a single season. And within those seven players, 5 of them are Steph Curry. Just absolutely insane. You know, back in 2015, 2016, he had that 400 three-point season, which is nobody's going to get close to anytime soon. But you never know. The league's changing. But even with people taking more threes, nobody's been able to match Steph Curry. He's just a monster on his own. And the other 2 players that were in the 7 players ever to have over 300 was James Harden in 2018-2019 with 378, and Klay Thompson with 301 in 2022-2023, which that was kind of surprising to me. I didn't think I thought Klay was kind of falling off, but last year 300 threes, holy shit. So this season hasn't really matched that for Klay, but let's get back onto Curry, in which absolutely insane. He's only 64 games into the season, so there's still time to add on to that number. Maybe it's the 403 mark. I mean, that's going to be a lot. That's like 93s in less than 20 games. So I don't know about that one, but crazy to see. Absolutely crazy to see. But for our next piece of news, my boy on the Team Void, obviously I didn't pick this game, Anthony Edwards. Oh my gosh. Let's just watch this. Let's just watch. Oh, let me get some audio. Just watch this. John Collins, his bitch. Oh my god, dude. Like, absolutely babied him. And you see he's looking at his finger. He literally dislocated his finger on that dunk. He dunked it so hard. I think I saw a stat that the dunk was like over 20 miles an hour going through the net. Just absolutely insane. Look at this shit. He had like hella height on him. Boom! He literally, you could have jumped over him. It looked like a dunk competition dunk.
After the dunk, it's an and one.
He wanted to stare him down, but he's dislocated his fingers so badly. John Collins just doesn't know what happened. Just has no idea.
We're awaiting gravity back into Delta Center. We can exhale. Unbelievable. Edwards.
Let's see if here's a replay.
Checked out after he just exploded.
Bam! Holy shit.
Oh my goodness.
Absolutely insane. I was seeing some stuff online where they were saying it was more of a layup. But I think people are saying that would also call Blake Griffin's dunks not dunks. So it's like, I don't know. Yeah, such losers, in my opinion. To minimize that dunk, that's a dunk of the year, 100%, and maybe a dunk for the past couple of years. Like, holy shit. And then to say it's a layup, like, come on, man, come on. But, anyways. I wish I picked that game for Anthony Edwards, because would have been a lot different for my semifinals matchup for the Void versus the Harlem Globetrotters. But let's get into the scores. Starting out I think this was the 9th place game. The Codfather was playing Team Web Warrior, and it wasn't a good showing from either team, but the Codfather squeaked it out, capturing 9th place. In a season where they did start to come back towards the end, but there was too much damage in the beginning of the season. As for Team Web Warriors, it's kind of the same story. They get 10th place to end the season, but 147 points is not going to get it done. Not going to get it done. Let's move on to our Kanto Embers versus Packed Nicely in the Toilet Bowl. Kanto Embers handled business, in which they wish they did this a week earlier, but now is better than any time. Winning with 250 points can get it done against any team in this league, especially with scores falling off towards the end of this year. Maybe partially due to injury, but anyways, as we move on, we have Team Belushio playing Team Lobster, also in the Toilet Bowl. Ignore the win percentage. I don't know why it does that, but Team Lobster surprisingly put in Tyrese Halliburton towards the end of the week to get the dub. Fans are baffled. Commissioners are baffled. Owners are baffled. I don't know a human that is a fan of this league that isn't baffled by Team Lobster putting in Tyrese Halliburton. By winning this week, they are now put into the 11th place matchup for this upcoming week, and failing to secure the first overall pick. So all that tanking for literally nothing. I don't know. It just seems like we're gonna have to get an interview with him to see what he was thinking. Because honestly, I thought maybe at the end of the season he would have put Tyrese against Riley or something as funny. But doing it now, you just kill your draft, in which you were so sought after. Yeah, mind-boggling. But we'll look at the bracket in a bit. Let's move on to Team Dame versus Team Zomps. Team Zomps handled business yet again, loose managerial style. Team Zomp did pick some games this week, which I think definitely helped him. As for Team Dam, it's a solid effort with an injured squad. And for a team in 8th place, the fact you almost beat the 2nd place team that has been hot, absolutely hot, since the middle of the season, of the regular season. To do that just speaks volumes to the depth, speaks to what could be shown for next season. As for our next matchup, and possibly the matchup of the week, possibly, I only say that because it was in the losers bracket, kind of consolation bracket. The Mog Squad played I Could Go for a Beer, in which the Mog Squad squeaked a .75 point victory with the help of Chris Middleton, who came back from injury for the first time in a while and started playing games again, scoring like 30 points for the Mog Squad on Sunday. And Rudy Gobert, who honestly struggled, scoring the bare minimum to help the Mog Squad get over the hump. I think Rudy Gobert had 24 points, in which he was projected 35 plus or something. But every point mattered. And for I Could Go for a Beer, Jokic couldn't do shit for him. And you just hate to see it. You hate to see it. There's a lot of allegations swirling around I Could Go for a Beer, especially after this performance. I'll just say I heard Bradley Beal was butt naked for a while. He refused to put on clothes, and he tore up the locker room. That's what I'm hearing. The front office released a statement saying that they offered a trip for the guys to go to Cancun or something, and then when they come back, they would go on a 5-month basketball retreat. No cell phones, no nothing, just to work on their game. It's a little soon. I think the timing is off because they still have another game after this week. But maybe that's more to develop. Maybe we'll meet with the owner of I Could Go for a Beer in the future. As for our championship bracket, let's start out with the Void playing the Harlem Globetrotters in an absolute must-win to get into the championship. The Harlem Globetrotters are going to the championship to try and get the trophy and hoist their first trophy in franchise history. And a tight win, honestly, 16 points. They picked good games, especially with DeAndre Ayton popping off. As for the Void, they just choked. Too many of their guys that picked the wrong game. You had Kobe White scoring only 13 points. You had Anthony Edwards, as we were talking about earlier. In that game, against the Jazz where he absolutely yammed on John Collins. Even coming out after yamming on John Collins, had like 37 points. And yet we pick a game that's 26.5 points. You just hate to see it. Nobody to blame but the owner of the Void. And it's another absolute choke out of this franchise, which has many questions revolving around it. Maybe the front office has something to answer. We'll see what they have to say in the coming weeks. I expect an interesting press conference. As for our other semifinal game, in a surprising turn of events, the Fraggle Rock 9 get upset by Team Army Jr. by a landslide. Team Army Jr. has absolutely dominated these playoffs. One of the best managerial performances in a playoffs we've seen ever, and it's only you only hope that it continues. As a 7th seed, this is somewhat of a Cinderella story, but many would argue they're meant to be there. They're just meant to be there. They made the moves. They made sure that they had the depth, and they're getting it done with guys like Josh Hart, Jalen Green, and you can't. There's nothing to say but love. You just love to see it. As for the Fraggle Rock 9, after going 18-2 in the season, just back-to-back weeks where you're barely putting up 200, it's just not gonna do it. It's not gonna do it. I won't say barely for the first week, but you're squeaking out a win against the 8th seed, which should be a landslide. But injuries are definitely tough. You just hate to see it, and this might be a team we look back on as could have been a dynasty team, could have repeated, and maybe even repeated a third year. Now falling in the hands of the third place matchup. So that'll be an interesting story to follow on for years to come. But let's move on to our best players of the week. And to no surprise, Team Army Jr. had one of them with Jalen Green against the Wizards on the 19th, who had 42 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, and a block, with a plus-minus of 26. Absolutely great for 48.5 points. Just, And you take Jalen Green out, and he still wins by like 30 points. Wow. Now, I should stop glazing Team Army Jr., but it's an absolutely great run by the kid. You just love to see it, especially seeing a 7th seed just get it done. You just love to see it, especially being in a 1st seed, and the week before beating a 2nd seed. Had to face the toughest matchup to get into the championship match. Just, man, you can't write it any better. Now, the other best player of the week who scored the most points was Team
I could go for a beer.
Nikola Jokic against the Knicks on the 21st, who had 30, 14, and 11 with a steal, a plus-minus of 30, pretty good. Scoring 50.5 just wasn't enough for a team.
I could go for a beer.
I think Nikola Jokic is going to be the MVP of the league, just in terms of fantasy points. I think either next week, once the championship's done, or the week after, we'll have an award ceremony. I don't know. I don't quite know what it's going to be, but it'll be for players, owners, and stuff like that. And this will just be the first year. I think for sure next year we'll get these awards set in stone. But now let's look at the playoffs. In the main bracket, as I was saying, Team Army Jr. against the Harlem Globetrotters are in the chip. Whoever wins this wins $40 or $80 worth of sports memorabilia. We'll get into more detail on that. Whoever wins this matchup will be coming on to the show next week, so we'll get to find out what they want. Great to see. This is going to be a matchup to watch for the week, and we'll have more on it in a bit. Let's get into our consolation bracket. As we saw, Team Zomped and the Mog Squad won, so they're playing in the 5th place game. And Team Dam and I Could Go For A Beer lost, but they're playing in the 7th place game. And then as we see on the end there, Fraggle Rock 9 and the Void are playing for 3rd place. I should also mention 2nd place gets $10 and 3rd place gets $5. The old prize for the 1st place bracket used to be $35 until a considerable owner on the Codfather, Sylv, put in $5 towards the end of the season, even though they knew they were going to lose. What a great guy. You just love to see it, increasing that prize pool. And that is something I'm looking into next season for making the prize pool more meaty. I have a good incentive plan, so we'll see. We'll see that in a bit. Not this week, but definitely after the championship. All right, now for our toilet bowl. We had a surprising win from Team Lobster. I still don't understand it. It's going to have nightmares for many of Team Lobster's fans. Team Belushio and Pack Nicely are now in the toilet bowl losers championship. Whoever loses gets the first seed. But, I mean, you're also coined the loser of the league, and you have to pay $5 to first place. So I wouldn't want to be there, but you do get first overall pick. So we'll see how that turns out. I honestly didn't expect Team Belushio to get this far, but injuries and such definitely lead you down this path. And for our toilet bowl consolation, the Codfather won this last week, so they got 9th place. Team Web Warriors going to be 10th place, and this week we're going to have Team Lobster playing against the Kanto Embers for 11th place, and whoever loses gets 12th place. Interesting brackets, interesting matchups. Puzzling to be a Team Lobster fan and just a fan of the sport. It just doesn't make any sense. But and that the Mog Squad game versus I Could Go for a Beer is an all-time matchup. That's going to be replayed for a while. Especially highlights of Chris Middleton not playing in literal ever, and just comes back and drops a 30 bomb for the Mog Squad. You just love it. And this absolute crazy run for Team Armory Jr. that now the Harlem Globetrotters are going to try and spoil, which I think is very possible. Team Armory Jr. is going to have to continue to have this dominant run of just picking great matchups, because they are projected to lose by 20 points right now. But if you look back at the previous 2 weeks, it's more like 260 is the average. So if you're Sherm, you're quaking in your boots. But let me show you this championship poster. We got Dame Lillard for Team Armory Jr. headlining with Jason Tatum for the Harlem Globetrotters. Absolutely hate that Jason Tatum is in the championship, but what can you do? For Jason Tatum, this might be the only time he can win a championship, so there's that. You gotta at least be, a little happy for for him for that. But I just fucking hate the Celtics, so can't really enjoy anything about it, if I were to be honest. I'm pulling up last year's championship player. The championship MVP player last year, I don't think anybody will guess this. It seems like forever ago. We all know the Fraggle Rock 9 won. But did you know that the championship MVP was Josh Giddey? What? Josh Giddey. Interesting. He put up 42 points to be the championship MVP for the 2022-2023 season. Etched his name in the book for more than one reason in 2023, but we'll see who the MVP is for this matchup. If I'm going to guess, I will say the MVP doesn't have to be on the winner or losers team. It's whoever scores the most. My opinion, it's gonna be Jason Tatum. If I were a betting man, if I'm going to be bold, I'm going to say Josh Hart is going to have another nuclear game. Tibbs is going to play him for 42 minutes against somebody, probably the Wizards or something. I don't know who they play, but that's my dark horse. Is Josh Hart's going to be an X factor for this matchup. But final notes, hell of a season, y'all. Can't believe it's coming to an end. Keep supporting, keep watching the vids. This is only the beginning, and with each vid, I think we're getting more and more polished. We're making more and more moves to make this league feel sick, feel more legitimate, and have more rewarding weeks. There's going to be I could see some real changes coming this offseason, but that will be with the help of the owners. And yeah, I'll see y'all next week with our champion, whoever it be, whether it's Sherm or Jake. Good luck, y'all. And I'm sorry for all the glazing in this video. The only real person I shit on was Team Lobster, but the moves he made didn't make sense. Team Web Warrior, you also played like shit. You could have had 9th place. I think he had some injured people, but no, I shit on. I could go for a beer too. Okay, no, yeah. Fuck y'all and love y'all at the same time. Don't want to be a glazer, but I also love y'all. So, peace. Hey, so I'm doing a test. Let's talk about the test I'm doing the test.